This is A Line Around Your Thoughts, a podcast that centers on conversations with artists, writers, musicians, and creatives from around the Inland Northwest. And I'm your host, EJ Iannelli. And today we are in the Rogue Heart Media studio, and for the first time on this podcast, we have a repeat guest in the form of Troy Nickerson and Chris Jensen of Theater on the Verge. So, yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Welcome back, I should
Well, thank
say.
you. Yeah. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and so the last time you were here for the very, very, very first episode of this podcast, we were talking about Every Brilliant Thing, and yeah,
We had just closed Every
Wow.
Brilliant Thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like the.
In my head, it was Torch Song, but it was the first one
yeah,
for both
first
of us.
no, I don't think you had Torch Song yet. We were going into Every Brilliant Thing, and
Yeah.
Theater on the Verge was just very nascent.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think Torch Song was something that you were thinking about announcing, but didn't quite have the rights. And
We
we
didn't
might
have-
find ourselves in a similar
Yeah.
situation today.
Yes.
But there had been a show that seemed like a good idea and then kind of walked
Right.
back.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah. And so if memory serves, that's where we
That's
were
where we
last
were.
time.
Wow.
Yeah. We were just getting over colds from having just dumped ourselves into a show and everything. And yeah. It was. We were fresh. Yeah.
It's actually heartening to me that it seems like so much time has passed, because I think that shows how busy you've been with Theater on the Verge.
Yeah.
So before we start looking ahead, because there's some stuff coming up that's pretty exciting, but let's kind of cast a look back and take into account, those two shows that we've got, which is Torch Song and then Every Brilliant Thing, and just, are they showing that the model is working? Have they been encouraging, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Well, I think the short answer is yes, they've been very encouraging. And we started off with a very, very simple show on purpose, and that was wise in retrospect. It allows just to kind of do a little proof of concept, make sure this was working. It did work. We actually extended that show. It was sold out, and we extended it.
And how many performances? Because I think you added at least two?
We had 8 performances total by the end. We were only doing 2 performances per weekend on that one. And then, so we did 3 weekends initially and then a 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did Torch Song by Harvey Fierstein, which is a show that both of us, it was very special to both of us, is very special to both of us. And something that we both discovered at a young age, had a big impact on us, had never been done here before. And just a few years ago, it had been, a new version of it had been written. It's a 2-hour version rather than the original 4-hour version, which makes it considerably more producible. And so we jumped on that. And I think we found it to be a harder sell. I don't know if that was simply because we were doing it in July. Everybody's at the lake.
Yeah. It's Spokane.
Yes,
Everybody's at the lake.
Everybody's
Yeah.
at the lake. And but also I think there were like 4 other shows opening that weekend. It just happened to be that weekend in summer when all the summer stuff was opening. And I can say I'm very proud of the fact it seemed like we really ours really shone in the midst of all that. Our second weekend was really big. We the first weekend we brought in some folks into the audience just to fill out the audience, people who we knew would probably be friendly to it and would hopefully help us spread the word, and that worked for us, because our second and third weekends were sold out.
Well, the savvy marketing thing to do would probably bring in people who are not amenable to it, and then they can generate a big kerfuffle and a big controversy.
Seems to be the way it works.
I'm still waiting for a walkout. We have not had a walkout yet, and I think with Hand to God, we might have one. We'll see. But I was sure there was one scene in particular in Torch Song that I was sure we were going to have a walkout
What
at
scene
some
was
point.
that?
It's a scene set in a back room of a 1970s Manhattan bar that involved a pantomime of a lewd act. And sorry about that. Involved a pantomime of a lewd act, and it was just Jonah Taylor on stage by himself, doing everything by himself in this. I mean, it was like Danny Kaye. He was so good. He was so funny. And I think part of the reason why people didn't walk out is because it was so funny. It's I think the humor sort of disarms folks maybe in things that might otherwise shock them.
The response to Torch Song was fantastic. I mean, it was it was more than I could have hoped for, just in the story, the story itself, and the way it touched people and moved people. It was lovely. The people that stayed afterwards, and it really moved people, and it told the story to people that have never heard of that Torch song. So that was such a high for me to have that.
And for those who don't know, it was originally a series of 3 short plays that was produced in the 1970s off Broadway, written and performed by Harvey Fierstein. And then he strung them together into one night, a 4-hour night of theater called Torch Song Trilogy. And it concerns this character, Arnold, who, unlike pretty much any other gay character in a major play up to that point, is not punished for being gay. And all he wants is, he just wants a family, and he wants to be respected and loved. That's what he wants. And in 1978, 1980, for a gay man to be asking for that, just as he was pretty radical. And the things that he wanted and was pursuing were really, by a lot of standards, quite traditional. You know, he wanted to adopt. He wanted to get married. But again, in 1978, that was radical for him to even be asking for that. And the play really broke through in a remarkable way, where in 1982, it won the Tony Award for Best Play, which, again, in retrospect, is pretty amazing. But part of the reason I think why it broke through is because it is so funny. Yeah. And very, very moving, but always with humor. And I think that humor helped really carry through to folks who might not otherwise be open to seeing something like that.
Well, and it was a regional premiere here, and that shows you how long it took to get this acclaimed play. Granted, the 2-hour version as opposed to the 4-hour, and that might have been a little bit of a hurdle.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say this, Hand to God is a regional premiere. It's never been done here. It was on Broadway in 2015, so that's quite a long time for it to make its way here. And the play that we are hoping to do this fall, we're just waiting for the rights. That is a regional premiere of a Tony Award winner for Best Play from over 20 years ago that never made it here.
Okay.
And there's reasons why for all of those things. There's a reason why it's not made it to Spokane yet, but I'm really excited. I'm hoping that we can land that so that we can. I love that we're introducing pieces to this region that have not made it here yet.
It also seems like we both have mother issues at this point. Like every show that we're doing is just full of mother issues and
As director, so you're speaking and coming at this. I mean, both of you are co-founders of Theater on the Verge.
Sure.
You're coming at it from a producer perspective. Soon you'll be coming at it from maybe a writerly perspective. Right. Again, we'll visit that in a sec. But you're coming at it from a directorial perspective. And this is, something in which you are incredibly well versed. You've done many, many productions and a pretty big span of productions. But I remember when we sat down and talked about Theater on the Verge, and you said, I want to do stuff that's, maybe a little meatier, that a little more outre, and edgy is usually the catch-all word for this sort of thing. But usually edgy means maybe substantial, maybe things that
could grab onto.
Yeah, and angles that you don't normally get to take.
And stories maybe that other people don't want to tell or haven't told or don't feel like they can tell.
Right.
And I think we've succeeded in that. Stepping away from musical theater has been absolutely such a wonderful break for me. There's something about being able to focus on the work and with a smaller group of actors and not being a traffic cop and a therapist or any of those things all at the same time. It's been great. And both those shows have been so fun. Hand to God is going beautifully. 5 people in a room that can work together. It's amazing that the stuff that we get done in such a short amount of time.
We canceled rehearsal tonight because we're just we're in a good place.
We're good, and we don't even have our lead actor yet. He won't even get here till Sunday. So, so it's been great to be able to focus on just great plays. Even with I just finished Glass Menagerie, and it's the same. It was the same thing, just to be able to sink into really great writing. And take that time. It's such a different experience, and for my life right now, it's a much better fit.
And because you're working with slightly smaller casts. I mean, Ever Brilliant Thing was just a one-hander, so there's, it's about as intimate as it gets.
Yeah.
But nothing to this point has been particularly large. And I think Hand to God is probably going to be your large. Yeah,
because I think Torch Song was 6. Yeah. I think.
Okay.
This is 5, right?
Yeah, and this is 5. So yeah, I think in that space, that's about the outer limit of what we can probably do, especially if we have actors in the wings very much, because there's not much in the way of wings there.
Right.
So so I think that might be about
And that goes into our selection of what we want to do. We have to think what fits, what makes sense, what sets we can accomplish. Because it is a different space.
And we have looked at other spaces, but we've just had such a great experience there, and they've been so supportive and so flexible and so just accommodating and lovely. I mean, Don Hamilton and Lorna and Hayden, everybody on that team. Just the other night we were over there and they were taking photos of our puppets, as part of this whole deal, which you don't often get with a rental facility, a rented facility.
They recorded a radio spot for us.
Yeah, they're doing these things that are just so valuable. And the pictures, I just was looking at the proofs last night. They're hilarious and fantastic. And that is, it's hard to put a price tag on that, really. I mean, I guess I'm sure you could. I'm sure they could too, but they're not.
But
and
please
that's
don't.
Let's not. It's remarkable. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of working somewhere that kind of has a media arm. So
Right.
you have this venue that does that. But when you talk about, they maybe some of the constraints, so they don't have wings. But Stage Left doesn't have much in the way of wings.
Not much,
They have to be creative.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think and constraints are good for creativity very often.
Truly. And
they
we
really-
found that over and over again.
You
There's been times, we can't do that. What can we come up with that's clever enough? And
mean-
amazing things come from that.
And the morning before we opened Torch Song, I was running around to local vintage shops trying to find a vintage screen that we could use that would solve a set problem. We figured it out. But that, when I think back on that, it's very funny how it's a little bit seat of our pants, but that's kind of fun. And we're just figuring it out as we go. And we're building the car while it's in motion, basically.
Well, that's kind of been your MO at
Right.
Theater on
Yeah,
the Verge.
yeah.
Let's make this work.
And I tend to work that way anyway. I'm not like a big preparer of. I work in the moment and on the thing.
But you kind of have to be. I mean, I accompanied you throughout Wonka, and you had to be a preparer to some degree. There was no
for somebody, yes, especially with large casts like that. But with the smaller cast, that's one of the beauties. I mean, you can just let the actors go and then move them and craft them into.
Especially if you have actors
so
of this caliber that we're working with on the show, where they're really, it's a great group of people.
It's such a lovely thing to be able to even handpick people that we want and that want to work with, for one, and also are.
And some of them are coming back.
Chops. Yeah.
And we've got Doug Dawson coming back. He was in Ever Brilliant Thing, and he's going to be in Hand to God, which that for us is a lovely thing, like a lovely little full circle moment, and also just a valorization, I suppose you might say, of what we're doing and of what we're creating. That he wanted to come back and work with us, so we love that.
And let's tease this out a little bit more, because it isn't every day that you as producer or you as director get to handpick your cast and really target folks. I mean, some of that goes on, but you certainly have more creative control than I think you ever have. And you could speak better to that than I can. But being able to work with these actors and really zero in on, who's going to be right for this part, who's going to bring the goods for this particular part, and you can really curate that quite well. So, what has that process been like? Does that add to the level of reward that you get from each production?
It's been an interesting process because we've done both. We've had some auditions and we've precast. We've done both. I'm kind of at a place right now where I feel like just selecting and precasting for us is really going to be kind of more where it's at. I'm not saying we won't audition stuff again, but it's been lovely to find our show. And because I think so many times when we're picking stuff and going through stuff, because we're small, we can literally visualize and have actors in our heads as we're picking things, which is a nice advantage sometimes. Not necessarily we're going to get them, but it's a good place to start knowing those scenes, that we can cover it, right? Like there are people good enough to play that part. There are people.
I mean, we initially selected Torch Song as a vehicle for Marianne. as to who plays the mother. And because we were looking for, you hadn't worked with her for a while. She had been on stage for like 9 years.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like such a perfect role for her. It's such a great role, and she just killed it. She was so good.
We're having like moments like that, like, well, you know, there's this actor that we haven't seen in a while, and they're so good. Like maybe we find something for that actor, you know, like and that's cool, you know, and actors that haven't been seen for a while, and bringing them and showing their strengths, and that's being able to call them up and just say, hey, we have a role for you, it's great. And
another part of this I think is really important is we've worked with essentially the same crew or a very similar crew. Like they keep coming back. They want to work with us. We want to work with them. We've kind of put together this little company, you know, in that way where, and that's lovely to just know exactly who we're working with, and for them to know at this point pretty well how we like to work. And, you know, and everybody gets a little bit of money, and everybody seems to walk away happy. Yeah.
But being able to handpick your actors is awesome. I worry sometimes, you know, like there could be people that we're missing, but they tend to make themselves known, you know, like they really do. Or I mean, we're good about seeing other shows. Went out to Lake City Playhouse and saw their Alice by Heart and was blown away by some of the talent that I saw out there that I did not know. When I went and saw Rent, that's how James Padilla is coming in to be in our next, you know, our musical weekend and stuff. So we kind of scout out a little bit. So I'm trying not to miss people, you know, but like I said, I've had people reach out to us and say, hey, you know, I'm interested. If you find a part for us, you know, find a part for me, let me know. So it's been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as the kind of chicken and egg production versus actor, even Every Brilliant Thing was somewhat with Doug Dawson you had in mind from a very early stage with that.
I think we may have already had the rights, but we knew pretty
we rolled
early.
around a couple names.
Yeah.
But Doug came to the surface like it was kind of a duh moment.
Yeah.
You know,
you were at their salon talking with a few, just brainstorming, and then somebody mentioned it.
I was like, oh, for gosh.
Yeah.
Doug Dawson.
Yeah.
And that things work that way for, you know, it's awesome. I like working on the fly like that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you had these two productions last year, Every Brilliant Thing and then Torch Song, and then there was a little bit of a downtime. Yeah. What were you doing during that downtime?
Well, initially we were going to do a musical. We were going to do a musical called John and Jen. We had a cast. We had the rights. It's a 2-person musical. It's very rare. 2-person musical with piano and cello. Great concept, really interesting show. Unfortunately, our lead actress, who was incredibly talented, landed a national tour when we were a little too close to being able to recast that role. And it was the kind of role where there was just a vanishingly small number of actresses anywhere who could not only sing it but also act it. And we really tried to save it. We tried to save it. And then we issued refunds and said, sorry, folks, we don't want to try to pull this off in a way that we're not proud of. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we fought it.
Yeah.
and it was, I have to tell you, and it was depressing. It was hard.
It was.
I mean, because I think we announced it right around our birthdays in like late September. And I just remember it took me about a month before that feeling of, it was a feeling of profound disappointment because we'd already put in a lot of effort into just like designing, you know, what the marketing was going to look like, all of that stuff. I mean, the rights, all of that takes a lot of time, you know, and but you know, we had to let it go, and I totally think we made the right decision because it was becoming more and more clear that whatever version of it we could have maybe tried to put up, we would not have been happy with. And that's not what we want to be producing, and that's not what we want to be putting in front of people. We'd much rather just issue full refunds and just say, we will come back when we have a plan for the next one. So it's lovely to have that kind of flexibility, you know, and to not have to do something that we are sure is not going to reflect well on us or we don't think will. And looking back on it, it came out just as it should.
Right decision,
but sure. It was a bummer. It was a real bummer. Yeah. So it took us a little while to kind of figure out, and then Troy did Glass Menagerie. I acted in a play over at Civic over the winter, and it really wasn't until May that we were able to come back together for this next one. And this is a piece, hand to God, that we'd been thinking about doing for a while. We actually had the rights before Torch Song, and we ended up going with Torch Song instead. We were concerned about the technical demands of this show. There's puppets, yes, but there's also blood, and there's a fair amount of sex. There's just things that are tricky for any number of reasons. I mean, the blood alone, you get that on costumes, that creates a costume issue. You have costumes that need to be torn off every night.
Yeah. I was going to say there is a lot of rending and tearing and destruction.
There's a tearing of a puppet, like solving that problem. And I think we just, looking at it, it just felt like there were a lot of technical demands. And I'm glad we started with Torch Song, because that was in its way technically difficult for us, just figuring out how to do set changes on that stage. How to bring actors off and on the stage, where are they going to go when they're not on stage? Solving problems like that. We solved those problems. We figured that out. And so I think we were in a much better position to tackle a more technically challenging show like Hand to God.
And can you give me a for instance of how you might have solved some of these blocking issues or these technical issues with Hand to God?
How we might have, or how we
know how you are doing it?
It's going to be very unit set. It'll be levels, and every space will have its room. So really, with Hand of God, I've kind of eliminated a couple of scenes, but not scenes, but places where they're played.
All the dialogue is in place.
All the dialogue is in place for sure. But it's unit set, so there technically will be no scene changes. Everything that starts at the top of the show will stay there for the entire show.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just keeping it very, very simple.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of those creative opportunities / challenges.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have the park, we'll have the bedroom, we'll have the classroom, and then at times it can kind of be all a little bit of everything. But the design's I think it's going to work really well. A lot of times it's done very real, and we're going way outside of that. It's going to be very not real, very, very second grade colors and kind of more fantasy world.
Well, that
Sunday school
suits
felt
it
bored.
in a way.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I mean, the whole premise is just utterly surreal.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but when you see other pictures of other productions that I've looked at, it's all been done like up in an attic.
Yeah.
Attic and being very real and stuff, and we're going definitely against that. Almost kind of a cutout storybook.
Like a Sunday
Charlie
school
Brown
felt board sort of situation.
And who's your set designer?
Blake and
Jeremy Whittington.
Jeremy Whittington
And Abby Monta.
Are the three of them are all kind of taken on.
Blake Carlson.
Blake Carlson.
Yeah.
So we have the three of them working on that side of it. So.
And we have a puppet maker, Farron Oberland, who he came to our attention from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer at Civic. He'd done a lot of the large puppets there.
Right.
He's like 18 and has done such.
They're so good.
They're so good. These puppets are so good.
God,
Like,
so good.
I cannot wait to introduce the photo of like one of the main puppets. It's just
They're fantastic.
She
They're
is
so good.
remarkable.
The talent this young man has is amazing, and it's so. I mean, when you have the actors that are so good, puppetry is like such a thing. It's such a specific thing, but actors are actors, and you slap a puppet on their hand, and it's amazing. 9 out of 10 of them can bring a puppet to life.
And he's directed Avenue Q.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, I think puppetry is something that, and really enjoyed it. And I think it's just being able to work with puppets again has been really fun for him, in that way.
And when I first saw this production announced, I feel like, the print, the print as a discipline had kind of had its renaissance in Spokane and is still kind of going through that. But puppetry seems to be having its moment in Spokane. I mean, Patrick Treadway has been around for a while and doing a lot of puppets. But you've got Spokane puppetry, Alex Kalbick and Tiffany Bubna over there, who are, I see a light of recognition. Did you reach out to them?
Tiffany's involved with us. Yeah, she's doing work.
Costume work.
Yeah.
That is great because when I saw this production announced and it was around the same time that I was talking to Alex and Tiffany, I thought, there's going to be some sort of symbiosis here.
Yeah.
Well, it happened. I mean, I don't even remember how it happened, but
she reached out to me and
so,
we brought her in. We're like,
and then she met Farron, who didn't even know there was a puppet thing in town. So they're now, locked in and friends and So Farron is the real deal. These puppets are fantastic.
Oh, that's great. And so for folks who might be listening or watching and really don't get the premise of this or
Sure.
have no familiarity with Hand to God, what's going on here?
So Hand to God is set in the church basement in Cypress, Texas, at a kind of, I don't know, Southern Baptist evangelical church of some variety, some flavor like that. And it's about they're putting together a Sunday school or a puppet show for church. And one of the kids who has created a puppet, the puppet starts going off script and saying things you're not supposed to say in a church basement. And it's very funny. It's very shocking. But really, part of what I love about it, I love comedies that are about something, that a dark comedy that's about something. And this is very much about something. And I think what it is, it's a dark comedy about the divided soul. And it's about this kid trying to figure out, is this thing that's talking through my hand, is this what the church is telling me? Or who am I? Am I what the church is telling me? Am I this thing in my hand? Who am I? And he's a teenager, so it's a natural time to be thinking about that stuff and trying to figure that stuff out. And the repressed id that's coming out through this puppet, is just so interesting. But also there's these other themes at work. There's alcoholism and there's grief. These people are dealing with real stuff, and the ways that their puppets kind of navigate that, and the ways they express themselves through their puppets, and that stuff kind of comes out without them even realizing that it's coming out.
Well, there's a conversation, too, of whether the puppet's possessed or Jason's possessed. That's the conversation, too.
Right.
And there's, it's preceded by a fairly infamous monologue.
Right.
And, which is delivered by the puppet.
Yes, it is.
So
as the opening of the
which
show.
further blurs the lines between who's doing what.
Right.
Yeah, truly shocking, hilarious monologue. That's just crazy monologue. Yeah.
This was one of the. Chris usually reads all the plays because he'll read them, suggest things, and then we'll have them read out loud so I can hear it. But when I read this, it was. I was like, what the. I was so shocked. And I'm a little Catholic boy. I mean, it scared the crap out of me. I'm not even kidding. I called, dude, are you sure this? Oh my God, this is insane.
Well, and I know that Troy had been trying to get various theaters to do this for a little while. I've been suggesting it.
Really?
And, yeah.
Yeah.
And he suggested it to me just as like a possibility before we even did Torch Song. I ordered a copy and I read the opening monologue. I said, this is great. I didn't even get further than that. And I think I called him right away because it grabbed me right away.
And then I read it again and went, oh my God.
Yeah,
wow.
Outrageous. Yeah.
And this is, pretty intense. But I figure, if you're staging Avenue Q, I mean, this isn't that far of a stretch. It seems like something that you would entertain.
I also think it's aged better than Avenue Q a little bit.
Yeah.
I think there are some of the humor in Avenue Q.
This show goes farther than anything I've ever done. As far as it goes out there on a limb.
Yeah, I mean, just pretty much every other word is an expletive of some sort.
And the sexual
point.
Nature of it is just off the. I mean,
yeah, we're like scheduling a radio interview here in like a week or two over at Spokane Public Radio, and I was just thinking, I'm not sure we can bring actors in to do the script because I don't think there's anything radio friendly in the entire script that we can do. We might be able to figure something out. Well, I'll look at it, but you're exactly right. It's not radio friendly. We're trying to make very clear, even though there are puppets, this is not for children. We're not allowing anyone under the age of 13, and any minors need to be accompanied by an adult. We're not messing around with that.
Well, I think sometimes now, because I wasn't prepared even toward Glass Menagerie, the warning signs at the beginning of Glass Menagerie for triggers and stuff, for Glass Menagerie. And I was thinking, I think maybe sometimes we overwarn or people a little bit. So, but this time we mean it.
With this time, yeah.
I was going to say Glass Menagerie. I mean, surely there's some cultural
for sure.
knowledge of
Yeah.
I mean, but it just there's now it's you have these all the
trigger warnings,
right.
Which I think. You watch it and you go, oh, that was fine.
We're trying to make our
trigger warnings. You might not think, these are.
We're trying to make our whole marketing campaign a trigger warning, basically. Is what just to be like.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
I also think it helps sell it.
If it's off the rails, it's in there.
Yeah.
From dry humping to, I mean, it's just the most unbelievable thing. It's been really fun.
Well, there's
I'm appalled at myself sometimes, like literally going to, I really just like, okay, we're doing this. It's okay.
Well, there's a sex scene where we had an intimacy coordinator and a fight coordinator and you, and just like working it all out, because it is quite, it's involved.
One of
We'll
the
just
things
put it
I
that
do
way.
love
you know.
about this show,
And it's between, you know, a teenager and someone who is quite a bit older.
Yeah. So it's problematic in many ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I discovered, I was thinking about it last night when I was lying in bed after a rehearsal, was one of the things I think I'm really loving about this show, because I haven't been doing musical theater, is that this show has the sense of a play in so many ways, because you can get up to meet and there's so many lovely scenes in it, but it has the choreography of a musical. Like every moment in the scenes are really choreographed in almost a dance sort of way. So it kind of gives me some of that work back, you know, to really put some thought into, you know, there's a scene at the end of the act where they, you know, the puppet goes crazy, and we decided to do like this slow-mo explosion of people that just like, you know,
It's beautifully choreographed.
it's just fun. It's just so messed up and awesome. So that's been fun to kind of flex that a little bit too.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have seen many a play where I feel like expletives and profanity are kind of inserted gratuitously. It's just to show like, these are our edgy creds.
Right.
What purpose does it serve? And I have an inkling, you know, I have my own opinions about, what purpose the profanity serves. But in your opinion, what purpose does the gratuitous profanity serve in this play?
Well, I mean, I think part of what it's about is people grappling with things that they can't name, or that they don't feel that they are able to talk about in a real way. Mm-hmm. And what this puppet does is he kind of brings to the surface a lot of the things, these ugly things that people in the play don't want to be talking about or thinking about. He confronts them with it. And I think it's through the shock and all of that he brings that stuff out, and it becomes more and more real. There's a breakdown scene in the second act that is just it's beautifully acted and beautifully written and well earned, in part because this person has been brought to a breaking point by this crazy puppet who has challenged and forced him to think about and talk about things that they don't want to. Which is, you know, I mean, often in church, and I grew up in a church like this, where, you know, you're not actually invited to talk about many things that might seem threatening or too dark or not right for that setting. And this puppet violates all of that in a way that I think is very productive in every sense of that word. You know, it produces these effects and actually changes these people. Like one of the characters, she utterly changes by the end, because she just admits that all of this is not, I don't want to spoil it too much, but he evinces a change in these characters through what he says that they didn't think was allowed to be said in that space.
I'm curious what you're thinking it was.
Well, no, I think a lot of it is about absolution, and whether we get that absolution from the priest or whether we get that absolution from darker forces, you know, and being able to kind of maybe shift accountability.
Right.
And here, I mean, the shock value is kind of the point. It's these people showing their worst selves and almost reveling in their worst selves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And more like with violence or sex or profanity, I really feel like it needs to be earned for me to be interested in it. You know, and I feel like this show absolutely earns it.
Yeah.
But there's still moments in rehearsal where I'll scream. Like I literally will scream.
I had
will
to-
just be like, "Oh my god!"
I had
way."
to walk out the door last night. Like I was like, "Are you kidding?"
But I mean, I also, I mean, I like that. Like I like it when people fall down. I mean, you know, I kind of have that sense of humor where dark, weird things make me laugh, and this stuff is like, it just goes to a place where it's uncomfortable, but you have to laugh because it's going to be really cool. I hope in a room to see people's. Just a combined room of 90 people and see what the explosion happens. And
Yes.
if people, you know, get up and leave, or if people, you know, the heroes that stay, and what sort of, you know, the trip this will take.
I do think a lot of people, and you used this word last night, and I think you're right, will be screaming with delight. Actually, I think that is my hope and also my prediction. I think it's that kind of thing. Like it will that's the thing it will evoke.
Do you think you're barreling maybe towards your first walkout? You know, somebody who did not heed the trigger warnings and this is just a little too much?
I would be pretty shocked if we don't have any walkouts throughout this
I would be
whole
pretty
run.
shocked if somebody didn't walk out every night.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But
Yeah.
maybe I'm a little more conservative.
I mean,
there's moments in here where I start sweating, like, when you mess with Bibles and stuff,
it's Broadway run. People walked out every night.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah. So I mean, I would not be. I would be frankly kind of delighted as long as the whole audience doesn't leave. But like
but then there's the young man that's really got he has this heart, and he's like, but he's the bad boy. There's like these kids that all have their issues and the things that they're grappling with. But you have this mother who's doing the Christ-Keteers and making the puppets because her husband died, and she's angry at God, and that, I mean, her whole thing is like grappling with this. Her husband dying and her anger to the one thing that she put all of her life in.
Well, and the bad boy's only doing the puppet show, or he's at puppet practice because he has to go somewhere when his dad's at an AA meeting.
Yeah,
like it's just there's this underlying stuff going on with these people. It's truth. Yeah, right. It is.
Hence the name of the play.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And that's one of the things that really drew me to it. It's not slapstick. It's not shock for the sake of shock. It is actually grappling with very heavy things in a way that is very funny and yes, very shocking.
And in a way, I don't think that's necessarily been done before, especially around here, man. I haven't seen anything like it, and it's still. I mean, I teared up a few times, but I tear up more from just going. I cannot believe this is happening. Yeah. It's so wild and so fun.
And this cast, I think you've got what, five?
Five people.
It's a five-piece. Mm-hmm. You got Declan Sheehan is in there. He was in Heathers at the Civic. You got Eleanor White, who was Matilda.
And
not
Veruca.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
And Veruca.
She's 18 now.
But I also saw that she's got she's building a list of film credits as well. She was in a film with I think Patrick Warburton, if IMDb is to be believed.
And she's going to be heading off to New York for school.
Yep. She's just about to head out.
Yeah, and Declan, we haven't had Declan yet. He's away at school, so he'll be coming back. We'll have our first rehearsal with him on Sunday. Okay. The rest of the cast, we pretty much pieced together most of the show, and then we'll drop him in on Sunday.
Everybody's going to be off book, and we'll just drop him in and go.
I mean, this cast, really, it's really incredible. Karen
Hoagland?
Like, this role was written for her. Like, she's fantastic. But they really are. They're so good.
And Doug Dawson has played Pastor Greg before in San Antonio. Actually.
And I saw Bob Saget had been.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And I thought that's a brilliant stroke of casting.
Really. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's been a blast so far. So I'm so curious just to see the reaction and see how people handle it and respond to it.
And so that opens May 4th. And how long is the run?
May 21st.
Or May 21st.
Yes, through June 6th. Yeah, it's 9 performances, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're very excited about it.
I am.
And then following that, you're doing something, after kind of avoiding or sidestepping music for a little while. It's in July. You're going to have a 3-day song fest.
Yeah.
Right.
Talk to me about this, because there's a whole conceit or concept associated with this.
No, this is we've been talking about doing a concert for a little while. I mean, Troy has a lot of experience in putting together concerts, And
Don just got a new baby grand piano, so it was kind of a sign.
Yeah. So it might be a full grand. I think it's a grand.
Is it a full grand?
I think. Anyway, it's a beautiful piano. And and that space is so great for music. They've been using it a lot for live music. And I think, we were just trying to come up with a concept that we thought might be appealing. And what we ended up landing on was this idea of songs that will basically a night designed to just help people, I guess. We don't want to say songs of hope, but basically that's what it is.
Or songs of coping.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we
I
didn't
like the way you put it on the songs for, what is it?
So the title of the piece is "The Art of the Possible: Songs for a Marginally Less Terrible World." At first I was like, songs for a better world. Like, no, I can't even pretend to think that we're going to make the world better with this. I think we might, just for one evening, for a few people in that room, make it marginally less terrible. That's what we would like to do. And so we don't want it to be this totally self-serious thing either. We want to have a few kind of goofy, funny things in there, just so we can all
just
sort of
a great
laugh.
night out. And Dawn and they live next door, so they have these beautiful gardens in their backyard. So the bar and tables will be out in the gardens, so you can go have your food and drinks out in the bar, out in the gardens, and then come in and see a show. with 7 of the finest singers.
Really great
Really fine
singers.
singers.
And what is the set list going to be? And is this in partnership with anybody? Is it in partnership with like Imagine Jazz or anything like that? No? Okay.
Just us.
No.
And so what we're going to do is that we found these 7 singers that we want to hear, and they'll kind of
We're sitting down with
give
them.
us their repertoires. You know, they're going to give us their repertoire, and then we'll go in there and see what kind of fits our vision, and then come up with maybe duets and different things that.
We'll have
we
an
wanna
opening
do.
number with all.
So we have
yeah.
the comedy pieces and different things, but
Yeah.
stuff that they want to feature themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're some pretty great artists.
And we'll have an opening number with all of them.
Yeah.
And then some kind of act 1 closer, with all of them. There's some kind of rousing thing, and then we'll have a big probably finale.
Yeah, and
everybody
I mean,
singing.
but we're gonna try to do it with humor and just good music.
And it's over 3 nights. So you've got 3 separate performances of this scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And so the hope is that people leave just a little more buoyed than they went in with
Yeah.
everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And-
Because gestures broadly at
And
everything.
hopefully,
Exactly.
through the night, find some humor and some common ground. Like we'll be around like-minded people, hopefully, and
Like-minded
just kind of have a
enough.
fun.
Yeah.
And the actors get a chance to offer things that they want to say,
Yeah.
or to do. So it's kind of a fun. I think it's a cool idea. So it's we got to stay away from it being cheeseball.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
But I think we can do that.
Absolutely.
I think we can manage
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's a change of pace from what you've been doing, and you'd mentioned John and Jen earlier. I had completely forgotten about John and Jen. Again, it just shows how busy you've been and how busy everything else has been. But that this production could have just kind of fallen off the radar. I feel like this speaks very much to what you had hoped to achieve with Theater on the Verge, and things that were being borne out is that you wanted to maintain a certain quality of production. And so when you were here and talking about American Idiot, and it was like we thought we were going to do this, and then we decided to shy away from it. And it's we felt like we couldn't carry it out to the standard that we wanted, and so we would rather walk back from that than move forward with a production we couldn't stand behind. And here's something too, where there are these mitigating circumstances. Obviously, with if you have a cast member, a key cast member who's unable
In a
to do it.
two-hander. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to say, we're not going to try to scramble to try to fill these roles.
Right.
We're just going to, offer refunds and then pivot a little bit. And then here with 3 evenings of song, this is what we feel like doing, and we feel like we can do it to a high standard. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and we handpicked the people we wanted to hear sing. And I love the idea of opening up to them to share the stories that they want to tell with their music. So we're not just throwing it, and it's not going to be musical theater. It can be anything. I mean, there's going to be whatever the artists bring to us. We'll kind of pick through their stuff, but it gives them a chance to have a voice too in it. I think would be kind of a nice way to go about it too, besides just handing them sheet music and say, learn this.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, there's a play that must not be named coming a little bit later in the year. And so mum's the word on that.
I just heard from the rights people this morning that they just need a little more time to decide whether or not they're going to give us the rights. But I mean, that's usually what happens right before you get the rights. So I think we're gonna land that. So.
Okay, so that's TBD. But one thing that you do know is Last House on the Block, and this is an original work by you.
Right.
And I have to say, it's great that we're getting regional premieres, but I always get a little excited by original work, because that's kind of what we should be doing. We should be generating, new works here in addition to staging other people's.
Right.
So Last House on the Block, what is this, and what is the general time frame for it?
So where this is born out of, I started a Substack a few months ago where I finally started writing about my experiences down in Los Angeles when I moved to LA to get better, because my life, the wheels had come off. I was struggling with active addiction. And normally rehabs will let you stay for 21 days. And there was a nonprofit rehab that let me stay there for 9.5 months. And that is kind of like the heart of this piece, is my experience in that house and my experience, the people I met there, the things that I learned there, and just mostly just about my journey in LA. And there's been a really lovely response to these pieces that I've been writing, and it's just been good for me to get it out. But I mean, I think Troy first suggested it as something like I read him one of the pieces, and he just said, I can just already see it. I can see it on stage. And and I have the whole thing pretty much written right now in terms of the stage adaptation. And the way we're approaching it, the way I want to approach it, is to have a pianist and 2 vocalists to provide kind of underscoring, because there's a lot of music in the pieces. Like I refer to music a lot in the pieces.
So Greek chorus-ish?
Sort of.
Okay.
And then the vocalists come in and they become interlocutors at different points. They play different small roles of people who say like a key thing at a key moment or whatever.
Or sounds, or different. I haven't fleshed all of that out yet. But that's going to be kind of the fun part. And the pianist will be actually composing. So they'll be doing original compositions, underscore, or if there's a vocal lines or anything that weaving through the story. Just interesting ways to present these pieces of work and how the transitions in and out of them.
Right. And right now we're looking at it as just like a 2-night thing, just to see kind of how it goes. But I feel I did a piece. Are you familiar with Pivot Spokane?
Oh, very
yeah.
They've been guests. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was a storyteller at Pivot last November, and that was the beginning of me really starting to get back into writing about some of these things. And
what was the topic that you did?
The topic was about my brother's death, and he went missing.
What was the overall?
Oh, the overall was
theme.
Mystery.
I see.
Yeah. And because there's a lot of things we don't know about exactly how he passed. He went missing while he was fishing. And so I wrote about that, and just that experience of putting that out there. And it really sort of activated something for me in terms of I've been writing professionally for years, but mostly for tech companies. And just to get back to doing my own writing about my own experiences and getting the kind of response that I've been getting and encouragement and feeling really good about the work. And I am very hard on myself. So that the fact that I'm so proud of this work and want to put it out there is, for me, it's really, it's been a lovely experience for me. And I love how supportive Troy's been of this idea. In terms of the timing, we're just trying to see where our big show is going to land, in the fall, because that's 3 weekends, and we want to make sure that lands on 3 optimal weekends, and then where we slot mine in is just easier. It's either going to be, I think, early September or probably early December, but we're still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're looking at like a 1 weekend run?
Just 1 weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, so after you have written it, then you're going to be performing it as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting too, because again, as an actor, that affords you certain opportunities. As a writer, that affords you certain opportunities. And as a director, that affords you certain opportunities to take something that's never been done before.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and just the directness
But it's
of
also
it.
terrifying too,
Well,
because you have no
absolutely
parameters.
Terrifying is my favorite thing.
Yeah. And it's going to be very raw, because it's very direct, and it's about some pretty powerful stuff.
And it's finding all of that journey through, and so it has the humor and the stuff, and
Right.
the transitions, and then you add original music, and that's a whole other component. But I think it's going to be just super, super cool.
I'm excited about it.
Cool. And no puppets.
No puppets.
Okay.
No
Well,
puppets.
No
don't say
puppets in
puppets.
No,
yet.
not yet. Not
There
yet.
could be a puppet.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, before you head out,
Yeah.
you should have some idea what's coming, because we have the lightning round.
Yes, we do.
And that's what caps everything. So obviously a different set of questions to the
Sure.
ones that you had earlier. So this first one, an either or. Troy, you're looking at me. So do you want to go first?
Oh,
do you want
sure.
to okay. Would you rather lose all the money that you've made over the past year, or lose all the memories that you've made over the past year?
Ooh, wow.
It's not a great option either way,
isn't
but
a
you're
great
going to
option.
have to choose
It
between
hasn't been a great year.
a little
I'm
more
gonna keep my money.
and sacrifice the
No,
memories.
yeah.
You know?
I know. I don't know. That's a rough one, because there's some beautiful memories in there too. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one.
I'd lose the money in a second
Yeah.
for this
Okay.
year. Yeah. For
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
And you can. It's okay to be mercenary. It's okay
No,
to
no, no.
give
Just
into
trying
our.
to
No.
my
And there are some
year.
years where I would not say that. There's some years where I'm like, no,
Yeah,
please.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
please wipe it clean.
Yeah.
Like, let me keep my money and wipe it clean. But not this year.
I know, I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of my year. How much did I make in
2024, you could wipe that one
I don't
clean
even remember what happened
retroactively.
this year, so I might keep the cash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you both answered in that one. Okay, great.
Okay.
great.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we're okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't.
Okay.
You don't
There's just
strictly
strict
have
rules.
to take
Yeah,
turns. Yeah. All right, Chris, you're going to have to field this one.
Okay.
If you could bring one magical or mythological animal into the world, what would it be?
Oh my.
And I will
goodness.
entertain the whole spectrum from unicorns to dragons to everything in between. So,
Mr. Tumnus the Fawn.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I've always been curious. Like,
Yeah.
well, he'd be a good hang. I feel.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
so too.
he'd be so glad to be out of that closet, like out of that wintry wonderland. Like, yeah. I don't know,
like
man.
Mr. Tumnus.
Yeah, no, yeah, and he could get Turkish delight and
Yeah.
just like it would. Yeah.
okay, Mr. Tumnus the
He was
Fun.
kind of cute too.
The fun fawn.
The fun.
Yeah.
fun.
I'm going to need you to go with something a little bit different and not
I-
crib off Chris's answer.
I don't know. Mr. Tumnus was a good one. I don't. Unicorn. I'm not. No, that's too obvious. Any animal.
Yeah, and I'm thinking any magical or fabled animal. And again, if you want to unleash hell on the world and introduce dragons,
Yeah.
that's game.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not. I don't really have any mythical animals that I can really think of. I'm so not like science fiction-y or any of that. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Okay, well then
Yeah.
the joint answer can be Mr. Tumnus.
Mr.
the-
Tumnus
Mr.
I do
Tumnus
like
the
Mr.
Fun.
Tumnus,
Okay.
but I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of
yeah,
any
yeah,
mythical
yeah.
thing I can't. I just like my dogs.
Yeah.
They're enough. They're enough. I'll keep my dogs.
I mean, Murphy is kind of a mythological
He is a
sort
mythical
of.
creature,
Yeah.
for sure.
He's got
Mythical
yeah,
terrorist.
Yeah. He's got that body that's just so long, and he seems like
That
he's
seems
not,
so uncreative that I can't think of a mythical
He's
creature.
magical. He's magical enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next one is directed at you. Who is your most interesting or most colorful relative?
Oh, my Uncle Gale. He's not with us anymore. He was a Jesuit priest, and I think he did a lot of drugs for a very long time. And when we lived on a farm, he would sing to all of our animals, and like our cows and our chickens.
And not the mythological animals.
No,
the
the
actual
real
ones,
animals.
Yeah.
And he literally was singing to our chickens one time, and we had the roosters with the big spurs, the fighting spurs on the back of the legs, and he was singing to our rooster, and it kicked him in the head, and he had to have stitches across his forehead.
What was he singing to them? Was
He
it
would
enough
just
to
make up
agitate?
songs. He would, like, we had a cow named Coley, and he'd just be out there, "Oh, Coley cow," playing his guitar. It was,
And the rooster was
yeah.
like, "That
and
is
I was like,
enough."
I was 5th or 6th grade, and he would come and visit, and it was always just like my dad was like, "Okay, Uncle Gale's coming," It's like, oh, well, yeah, he was a trip, and he was a Jesuit.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he sounds like the colorful relative that a lot of people would like to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was a barber, and he did, when I was little, he did the Jesuits' hair. Every Wednesday, I'd go to the Jesuit house, and he'd cut all the Jesuits' hair. And so I got to meet all the cool priests instead of where I went to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mean priests were.
Yeah.
The Jesuits were so badass. They had motorcycles and stuff. It was cool. Yeah, my Uncle Gale.
Uncle Gale. Okay.
Yeah.
My maternal grandmother was just, she was, I miss her so much. But just as a little window into her, have you ever played Hearts? The game of Hearts?
I'm aware of it. I don't think
Basically,
I've ever
with
played it.
hearts, you either want to have none of the hearts or all of them. And having all the hearts is called shooting the moon. All the hearts in the Queen of Spades. You're going for it.
Mm-hmm.
She went for it every single time. No matter what her hand she had, she would shoot the moon. And it just didn't matter. And it usually shook out in her advantage because she would get it right enough, because you win big if you shoot the moon.
Okay.
And that was just how she lived. She shot the moon all the time. And she also cheated all the time.
Uncle Gale shot other things.
I was going to say there's a lesson in there for us, but then you said, "Oh, she cheated a little bit too." And
Right,
maybe
yeah.
not,
And
maybe
then
not.
she was just very unapologetic about cheating when she get caught. She just had this kind of like, I'm just she was a depression baby, and she grew up in a lot of some hard Scrabble times, and she just did what she needed to do.
Yeah.
And she shot the moon because it worked for her. And she, yeah. So I miss my grandma, and she was pretty great.
Okay. Shoot the moon, but don't try not to cheat. All right. This is the last one.
Yeah.
And very apropos of our earlier discussion. What event or maybe embarrassing moment in your life would you like to maybe escape blame by saying the devil made me do it?
Oh man. Whoa. I mean, all of my 30s, maybe? I don't
Is there one thing in particular?
know, man.
I mean, we can entertain an entire decade.
Right. No, I mean, that would be really simple and actually really great in a lot of ways. Man, can you think of something?
I'm trying to think. I mean, there's so many things that I probably shouldn't even say. I was, I'm a child of the 80s. The devil made me do it.
Because it seems like a very Bart Simpson, like
Yeah.
a slightly more risque Bart Simpson answer. So, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Child
Yeah.
of the 80s, 90s-ish.
Trying to think. Like the devil made me do it. Like it's bad. Like I did. Like something just crazy. Like bad.
What crazy or just embarrassing?
Well,
if you want
one
to
of
escape
what was
blame.
Embarrassing. When I was in high school, we went out to Turtle Lake with a bunch of people, and they were all older than me. And we took mushrooms, and I slept in a shrub for like 7 hours, and woke up, and I was literally just looked like I was attacked by 40 cats. And I never lived that day. I mean, I got so much crap for the next 2 years from everybody that was there that night, and I never did that again.
And if only they understood that the devil made
Devil
you
made
do
me
it.
do
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
I
so
didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
you're completely,
I haven't
you're
slept
not
in shrubs
culpable.
since that I remember. but
Did you say you haven't slept in shrubs
Yeah,
since?
yeah,
Okay.
that I remember.
The other
Yes,
part, yeah.
Yeah. That's the
that was about the. I mean, I do remember that night, and I wish that was something I could take back. For sure.
as key takeaway from that experience.
don't sleep in shrubs and on mushrooms.
Yeah, not in combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I share too much about?
No. That's exactly the sort of anecdote that
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
hoping for.
And you're still waiting for me to. So I don't know if this is. Yeah, I feel like. So
Let's get confessional.
okay. So there was one night when I was not very well at this point in San Francisco, and
I don't know.
it was late at night, and I
could be
I
bad.
invited some gentleman over to my place, and he got there, and he came to my door, and he introduced himself, and I introduced myself, and he said, "Dude, I've been here 5 times," and I was like. Like, and I was like, even in the fog of my, I was not self-soothing in a healthy
Well, the
way.
devil,
the
devil was
devil,
making you
the
do
devil.
it.
We'll just say the devil made me do it more than once. So
I was alone in the shrubs, thinking about what I've done, feeling guilty about it.
oh
My Lord,
man.
Well, fortunately, again, it's about absolution, and
Yeah, right.
you are fully absolved or
Thank
hereby
you.
absolved
Thank
because
you.
the devil made
Thank
you do it.
Oh my God.
Chris and Troy, thank you so much for coming
Thank
in
you.
today
Thank you,
and
sir.
filling us in on where theater in the Verge is right now and where we're headed on end of May when we do Hand to God. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
This is fun.
It's fun.